The Harlem Renaissance was a cultural movement that spanned the 1920s. Also known as the New Negro Movement, it was a cultural, social, and artistic explosion that took place in Harlem. During this period, Harlem was filled with black writers, artists, musicians, photographers, poets, and scholars.
One of the most influential people of the Harlem Renaissance was William Christopher Handy. Born on November 16, 1873 in Florence, Alabama, he was an American blues composer and musician.
Also known as the father of the blues, he is credited with giving the genre its contemporary form. Although Handy was not the first to publish blues music, he was the first to take blues from a regional music style with a relatively small audience to one of the most popular and widely known genres during his time. Handy was an educated musician who used folk material in his compositions. His work frequently combined stylistic influences from several performers.
As a child, his father Charles Bernard Handy was opposed to William's idea of being a musician, but even this wouldn't stop him from doing music. W.C. Handy enjoyed doing a cappella lessons at school and eventually joined a troupe. This troupe disbanded after several shows. Afterwards, W.C. Handy went into college and became a school teacher, but ultimately decided to pursue his music career.
W.C. Handy was born here in Florence in 1873 in a very small two-room log cabin. His father was a Methodist minister, and so was his grandfather. So it was assumed that W.C. Handy would also become a minister. So that was somewhat disappointing when he chose another path. As a child, he was walking down the streets of Florence, and he passes a store and sees the guitar in the store window, and he wants this guitar. Well, he knows he can't go home and ask his parents to buy it for him. He knows he will have to work and earn the money. So he made and sold lye soap. Well, once he had earned enough money, very proudly he walked in that store with his little bag of coins and he dumps them on the counter. Now, I'm sure the store owner wasn't very happy because he had pennies and nickels and dimes to count out. But W.C. Handy did have the exact amount of money, so very proudly the store owner took the guitar from the shelf and presented it to him. Well, he was a very happy child, could hardly wait to get home and share with his parents, look what I've done all by myself. Well, when his mother spotted the instrument, she had a look of horror on her face. And then his dad came up and said in a very stern voice, "That's the plaything of the devil, take it back." Well, he goes on, he tries to explain to his parents that he had bought it, that he had worked and earned the money so he could buy it. And his dad said, "Take it back and trade it for a dictionary." So he was an obedient child. He took it back to the store owner, explained that he wanted to trade the guitar in for a dictionary. But I'm sure when he left that store, he said to
On April 27, 1928, he performed a program of jazz, blues, plantation songs, work songs, piano solos, spirituals, and a Negro Rhapsody in Carnegie Hall.
In 1940, NBC broadcast an all-handy program as part of its weekly series, The Chamber Music Society of Lower Beacon Street. The songs were performed by Dinah Shore and by the composer himself.
He was inducted into the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame in 1985 and in 1993 with the Life Work Award for Performing Achievement.
He He was inducted into the National Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1983. W.C. Handy was inducted in the National Academy of Popular Music and Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1970.
He received a Grammy Trustees Award for his lifetime achievements in 1993.
In 1954, Louis Armstrong plays with W.C. Handy, and this is one of their songs. W.C. Handy lived a very accomplished life. Some of the biggest accomplishments of his that influenced the Harlem Renaissance was his ability to bring the blues from a regional music style with a relatively small audience to one of the most dominant music genres in American music. Handy also organized the Lozetta Quartet, which helped introduce the blues in Evansville, Indiana.
Later, Handy became Mahara's Colored Minstrels bandmaster and went on tour. In 1938, he performed at the National Folk Festival in Washington, D.C. On April 27, 1928, he went on to perform at Carnegie Hall.
Unfortunately, in 1943, W.C. Handy suffered a fall from a subway platform that caused him to become blind. After his first wife died, he once again remarried in 1954 when he was 80 years old. A year later, in 1954, he suffered a stroke and was kept in a wheelchair for the remainder of his life. W.C. Handy later died on March 28, 1958, due to bronchial pneumonia. He was buried in Bronx, New York, but inspired blues artists of the next generation. After his death, he acquired many rewards for being the father of the blues.